One thing that is often used as the main motivation for hard work, and also betrayal in this series, is the fact that students who manage to graduate as Class A will get a privilege for a secured future guaranteed by the school. With the support from the government, this privilege is the strongest point from ANHS that leads to 100 students enrolled every year. For such a strong motivation that led to multiple betrayals, this privilege doesn't get too much attention in the story. Most of the main characters don't care about it, and it's often only brought up when some lesser student get desperate about their future. However, this privilege still brings a lot of stories that actually helped us to understand the theme of the story better. Not only because it shows us how ugly and desperate humans can be, but also because it helps us to see which character is the true elite that separates them from the rest. For a better understanding, let's start with how this privilege actually works. Although it was never explained clearly, the Class A privilege will give you a full support whatever career choice you decide to pursue. For example, if you want to become a fashion designer, the school could put you in the best fashion studio, or if you want to work at a famous company, the school will use their connection to give you a position in there. Simply speaking, Class A privilege will give you easy access without any need for you to compete with another 1,000 applicants. Looking at how the job market is today, this privilege sounds like a dream, and it's indeed a dream for a lot of students. Let's just take Pseudo for example. If he never enrolled at ANHS, he would most likely ended up with some part-time job or as a minimum wage worker. So a chance to become part of a billion-dollar company sounds like a dream that only comes once in a lifetime, so it's just normal that most people are desperate for that chance. Hoshinomiya is the prime example for this case. She once mentioned that she could have a glamorous life if only she managed to graduate from Class A, but reality led her to become a teacher. Since her reason to become a teacher is for revenge toward her best friend, we will never know how far she could actually go in life even without the privilege. However, if she could get all she wants without the privilege, there is no way she would hold a grudge for over 10 years, and that shows us how important the privilege is, at least for Hoshinomiya. Not to mention if we consider her personality and her interest toward younger men, becoming a teacher is actually a privilege for her. For most of the students, Class A privilege is a once-in-a-lifetime chance that could change their life forever. Even if their intelligence is below average, they could earn 5 times minimum wage or working in a field that most people would never imagine. However, there is no way it could actually be that easy. Even if someone like Ika manages to secure a job at Google, he will simply get fired because he cannot do his job properly. Class A privilege only helps you to reach your goal, but whether you can maintain it is purely on your own. Recommending someone incapable to do their job would only hurt the school reputation, so ANHS really took their effort to filter the ones who are not worthy for that privilege. They expel students who couldn't even pass their test, and create a lot of special exams that force the students to adapt to a lot of circumstances. With all possibility for expulsion, graduating from the school itself is not easy, let alone graduating as part of Class A. The school makes sure to nurture their student, so even if they're lucky to get privilege, at least they wouldn't get fired in their first year. This is something that we need to praise, because from what we see in the newest volume, even the uninhabited island exam no longer manages to scare the third year. In fact, they just accept the challenge as something they need to do. There is actually an interesting line from Ayanokoji in volume 11.5, where he said that even the one who graduates outside Class A doesn't seem to be really depressed. In fact, there is a hint of joy in their expression. Perhaps there is something we still didn't know about graduation, or maybe the third-year graduate finally realizes that the 3 years they spent were actually worth more than they ever thought. In that kind of circumstance, even a defective student could become a proper member of society. And now let's imagine what happened to the elite who spent their 3 years of high school to the fullest. If the ordinary students got proper mental training from the special exam, the class leader and the one who actually brought the class to victory would grow to become the true elite who don't even care about Class A privilege. Just take Nagumo as an example. Despite his incredible achievement, he doesn't give a shit about Class A privilege and chose to enroll in the same university as Manabu. We didn't know how prestigious the said university is, but Nagumo knows full well he doesn't need any help to secure his place on it. On the contrary, Asahina could enroll at the same university as him, but she decided to not force herself because she knew she wouldn't be able to catch up even if she got accepted. Just with Nagumo as an example, it's clear that the ones who deserve that privilege are the ones who don't need it. This is aligned with what Hashimoto said, where the one who has the power to reach Class A doesn't care about Class A itself, either because they are gifted from birth, or they took the hard work and challenge to reach their goal as their own amusement. That's why the ones who keep fussing about Class A privilege are the ones who deserve it the least. For that kind of students, Class A privilege is no different than a poison. They justify any means to get it, and slowly get corrupted to the point they throw away everything that they build in their whole 3 years. From one point of view, it does sound like a logical choice by prioritizing your entire future compared to 3 years of high school, but by doing so, it trapped them in a circle of betrayal where they will keep betraying others just to survive. The most disturbing thing about how this system works is the fact that the school perfectly mimics how real life works. The one who cannot keep up will be left behind, and the ones who are not good enough need to do anything just to survive, even if it means selling their soul to the devil. They need to accept their lack of talent, and live with that for the rest of their lives. Their purpose in this story is nothing more than to be firewood, burning to shine the true elite who surpass them in everything. They exist so the true elite could shine at their best. Perhaps we despise them for how useless or how evil they were portrayed, but before you hate them for it, just remember that it was the school and the world that forced them to do what they needed to do. However, it will forever become a debate whether choosing your high school life is better than prioritizing your future. We have seen how Ichinose's class tries to graduate with all of their members, and even if so far they succeed with it, their progress to reach Class A itself was far from satisfactory. If we are looking back at Volume 5's second-year arc, they had a chance to expel someone in exchange for 100 class points, but Kanzaki was the only one who seriously recommended it. They said they will regret that decision later, but if someday in the future they fail to get a job, perhaps they will end up just like their homeroom teacher, cursing their decision in the past and decide to become an alcoholic high school teacher. However, knowing Ichinose, she would have a bright future even without Class A privilege, and she will definitely try anything she can to help her classmates in life. It's actually funny that a class who prioritize friendship has a teacher like Hoshinomiya, who always hoping for her friend to suffer. If Ichinose doesn't end up like her, she will keep maintain her 3 years of high school to form a lifelong friendship that will help them no matter what happens. However, if they chose to expel someone back in Volume 5, not only it's still not guarantee their graduation as Class A, but it's hard to think Ichinose will stay the same if it happened. At worst case scenario, Ichinose will completely abandon the class just like Hirata did, so not only will they fail to graduate as Class A, but they will also lose Ichinose to help them in the future. It's indeed hard to choose which one will result in a better result, but it's almost impossible to achieve both with their current capability. At the end, only the true elite deserve to get that privilege, but even if they didn't get it, nothing will change because they never needed it in the first place. In fact, the school already gives them more than a simple privilege. It teaches them how to control, how to work with the others, or sometimes teaches them how to side with the winner, so even if they cannot reach Class A, just graduating already teaches them more than enough to at least succeed in life. It indeed sounds a bit optimistic, but there are still a lot of things we didn't know about graduation. It's important to think about your future, but never let greed ruin you. Just cherish what you currently have, and keep improving every day. Maybe someday you will regret it, but at least you will never lose anything other than a simple possibility.